Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan are honored to partner with Proudly We Served, as well as the continued support of our local active and retired military veterans across eastern Indiana.
I'm Al Bledsoe, Post 1108 of VFW.
Hi, I'm Ron Chappell. I'm chaplain for Vietnam Veterans Chapter 777 here in Richmond and co-host here with Elliot, Proudly We Serve.
Oh, it's good to see you this morning.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
And our guest is
no stranger.
No stranger to this program. We're glad to have him back.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit about his event that he's got coming up in September.
Yep.
And we'll be publicizing this, and he's got the official brochure out, so I'm going to look a little bit at that. So, Brian, why don't you tell us again what the resource fair is, what you do there, and those kind of things.
This will be the 11th annual Eastern Indiana Veterans Resource Fair and Hiring event. It'll be September 26th out at the First Bank Expo Hall out at the Wayne County Fairgrounds. We started this event as an opportunity for the veterans of Eastern Indiana to come to one place and find out about the resources that are available to them and also what hiring opportunities are out there right now.
It works well. I remember last year I went out there, man.
It looks like to me that
all kind of people.
The crowds have continued, I think, gotten a little bit bigger, but maybe the word gets out a little bit better. With First Bank, when they took over the Kuhlman Center, which is the old Kuhlman Center, they did some stuff there that made it more apt to community affairs. I guess that would be the word to use.
It has grown. The first 3 years we did it, we were actually in the Coleman Center. And we outgrew the Coleman Center, and now we're in what used to be the Tom Raper Center. Now it's the Expo Hall.
Yeah.
We'll have, I'm sure, we haven't started registering vendors yet. That process will start here pretty soon. But I'm anticipating again this year having over 100 vendors.
Wow.
Last year, attendance it didn't really go up or down. We had some bad weather last year. So we've always tinkered with things year to year. So we're moving the event up into September, hopefully to have a little warmer weather and a little drier weather.
Do you think the COVID thing, we've been out of COVID now, since 21, maybe 22? Does that play into the employment of new people coming in? I've been watching the news, and they somehow brought that up, that people wanted to stay home.
With our event, of course, we had 2 years where we did it virtually because of COVID.
Sure.
Right.
And what we did the first year back, which was 2 years ago, even though we were out of COVID, we still set everything up with the COVID guidelines. We had 6 feet between all the tables, plenty of hand sanitizer laying around. And we did that. Now, last year, we kind of went back to the norm before COVID. Just with the sold number of vendors we had, we couldn't do the 6 feet apart between the tables. We just couldn't do it. And that's just a tribute to all the vendors, that signed up and wanted to participate. We also, this year, we're going to try something different to bring in more people. We're going to have door prizes this year.
Oh, wow.
Haven't finalized what they're going to be. This event's totally free. We don't charge the vendors. We don't charge the veterans and their families to come in. So we came up with the idea that we're going to ask all the vendors to bring a door prize. And It's
That'd be
shown
cool.
in the past
That's good,
when the
yeah.
more stuff,
Yeah.
the more stuff we have to give away, the bigger our crowds are.
Yeah, that should encourage them because
Yeah.
most things like that, you have to pay for the space. So you're not charging them for that. I like that idea.
We're anticipating quite a turnout this year.
How is the job market for veterans? How from your perspective of it, what does it look like?
The veteran unemployment rate is still really low. It keeps hovering around the 3% mark. What we've done is we've got a new change in the population that I can serve in the offices now. Recently, the Department of Labor Vets came out with a new veteran program letter that details what our program does. And in the past, we've had a veteran comes into our office, gets screened by the front desk. They ask everybody that walks in the door, "Are you a veteran?" So that person comes in the door and says they're a veteran. That just sets off a chain of events that happens for that person in the office.
Do they have to show any ID or anything? Or?
No, what they do is they self-attest to being a veteran. We have a form that everybody that says they're a veteran, they come into the office, they fill it out. Used to be, and we haven't updated the form yet. Everything takes a little bit of time when there's new rules.
Sure.
But on that form, it was a list of what we call significant barriers to employment. If a veteran has one of those significant barriers to employment, they can be referred to me, the Disabled Veteran Outreach Program Specialist, for case management and things like that. Well, now, with the new veteran program letter, it's no longer significant barriers to employment. It's a qualifying barrier to employment.
Okay.
What those qualifying barriers are could be a disabled veteran, could be a Vietnam veteran, could be a recently separated veteran within 3 years. They could have been referred to our office by the VA, and specifically their VOC rehab program. Homeless veterans, justice involved veterans, a veteran who's 18 to 24. It could be a veteran that lacks a high school diploma or an equivalency diploma. Where the change happened was in what we call the economically disadvantaged veteran. Before, that was basically just low income. And low income, a lot of people will think, well, I've just lost my job, I'm low income. Well, the standard is to go back 6 months and look at your wages the last 6 months. So while when you first come into the office, you may not be technically economically disadvantaged, you go 2, 3, or 4 months being unemployed, you would be. What's changed in that definition is now any veteran that's unemployed, as long as they meet the service requirements for our program, which is 180 days consecutively on active duty, Title 10 activated, or you were released because of a disability. So with that, now being able to see all the unemployed veterans, as long as they meet, our opportunities to take care of veterans in the state of Indiana is growing leaps and bounds now. As it basically opens the door potentially to every veteran that walks in the door is eligible for my services or our services.
So how do you, the thing of it is, like some of these organizations, if you will, that are veteran friendly or want to be veteran friendly, they have difficulty in getting veterans involved. So what's your way of getting those veterans in? Is it just the way you handle all of that employment stuff?
The biggest part of the people that I see, the veterans I see, are referrals from the staff in the office.
Sure.
But another part of our program is, in my job title, the word outreach is in there.
Sure.
So I spend a lot of time doing outreach. Basically, we're told if our caseload isn't big, we need to be out looking for more people to serve.
Outreaching.
So, our resource fair and hiring event, that's a big outreach event. I'll stop in veteran service organizations throughout the 5 counties I serve. Sometimes I'll pop out at the food pantry. Anywhere, basically, outreach for us is anywhere we can find a veteran.
Yeah. I think it would be a good idea if we have it is to pass out, you've got a nice brochure, is to the next time we have the food pantry, pass that out because in the food pantry now, you have to be carded. You have to show your military ID or your health insurance card, basically. So we know everybody that's coming through the food pantry now is a veteran or they have the veteran's card with them. We have some wives that bring their husband's cards because they can't do it. But so that's really a good thing for this because it would be another outreach, if you will. It would be another, here's something you can get involved in if they'll do it.
Right.
And I also have, obviously I have the flyer for the resource event, which we would love to have, put in their boxes, the next couple of months. But I've also got a flyer that just details my services or, the DVOP services. So we can use that year round.
Yeah.
There'd be nothing wrong, I don't want to interrupt you, but there'd be nothing wrong that I could see wrong with the food pantry of putting one of these in each box until September, but also putting your information in. I don't see, unless Dayton would have a trouble with that, I would have to ask them, but I don't see any problem with that. It's our
And
food
the
pantry.
big thing, a lot of those people coming through there are looking for work.
Sure.
That's why they're there.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'd like to see more of the events in this area, not only touting what they do, but also giving the opportunity for those veterans to find out about other things that are going on.
Sure.
Because
Good idea.
we live in a weird area here in Wayne County. For veterans, the things we need aren't really based here. So the more opportunities we have to get out and talk about what's available to them and bring those resources here,
Yeah.
the better the chance that veteran's going to get taken care of.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned the homeless veterans. Now, how do you help them? What's the process?
If they come in to our office and they're homeless, there's a couple of things I'm looking for. Before I even think about helping them find a job, where are you staying? We need to find a safe place for you to live until you find some work and can afford your own housing. So that could be a referral to the Journey Home up in Winchester, if they are interested in something like that. It could be a referral to the Hope House if they just need some place to sleep at night, because there you can't stay there during the day unless you're in one of their programs.
Right.
So that's the first step,
Yeah.
I provide everybody that needs it a list of all the meal sites here in Richmond. Clothing as well. That way they've got, I try to give them as many resources as we possibly can give them.
That's good.
Sometimes it's information overload for them, but it's good information overload. So we're, with all of the veterans that come in, it's basically the first step is assessing what they need. We do a comprehensive assessment. It's not just assessing what their employment needs are, but it also everything, life
support.
Do you think they push back the homeless vets, which is something that I've really kind of tried to be involved with a little bit. So does the homeless vet, do they push back on these programs a little bit, do you think? Or is it?
The only real pushback I've ever gotten is some of them, they don't mind being homeless.
Yeah.
I talked to a fellow
And,
that told me that.
you know, that's something that, you know, for somebody in my job, I have to respect. You know, I'm not in the habit of forcing things down somebody's throat, so to speak.
Right.
You know, I'm
Yeah,
just.
that won't work anyway.
No,
so.
that approach doesn't work.
Yeah.
And, you know, my approach is I'm going to give you as many tools as I can. What you build with that, it's up to you.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's going to build them a nice big 2-story house and everything's going to be great. And the rest, you know, there's others that, you know, I'm going to go pitch a tent somewhere and I'm still going to be happy.
Yeah, the fellow, he told me, he said he was okay, like he was. You know, he didn't have a place to stay or anything, but he said, I get food, you know, and things that I need. And I don't have the responsibility of having to pay utility bills and those kind of things. He was okay with it. And he was a young veteran.
And, you know, and one of my biggest referrals is sending veterans to the County Veteran Service Office.
Sure.
I know a little bit. I know enough. I tell everybody this all the time. I know enough to be dangerous about the benefits that are out there for everybody. But if I'm not the subject matter expert on something, I'm sending you to the subject matter expert.
Right.
And I try to tell every veteran that comes in, go talk to them about filing a claim for disability. We have way too many veterans in Wayne County that probably could receive disability through the VA that just don't bother to file.
Yeah.
You
Pride.
It's pride.
Yeah.
It's, I don't want to wait. Well, when the wait thing, I try to get them out of, because potentially, you know, you're looking at right now a veteran who's got a 10% disability gets $160 some a month. While they may not think that's much, to some veteran, it pays a water bill.
That's right.
It pays for a trip to the grocery store. And then the other thing is once you get in the system and they start looking for things, well, you know, just in my personal case, I was a 10% rated for my knee. Went back, I wanted it reevaluated. Well, Ron Rea, our county veteran service officer, he goes, hey, you've had a hip replacement. We can connect that hip to your knee.
Okay. Okay.
So I went from 10 to 70%
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And that's life-changing.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
And then we started talking about, well, we can probably connect your arthritis to restless leg syndrome. And you just get that conversation. I was oblivious to connecting
Right.
different things. And it's just life-changing.
Yeah.
And we've got to get the word out and influence these veterans in Wayne County to file.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that can happen? They say no.
Right.
You don't know till you try.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
I
have to
think
say
it's
that.
excuse me. We've got a young man at work. He's a Marine. He was in Iraq for 14 months. No question he would qualify for some of these things you're talking about. And he just, I mean, of course, he makes good money at what he does, and he's just won't grab a hold of that. And I said, you know, there'll come a time in your life, maybe, that maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have applied for the VA stuff sooner, because the VA's there to help you, just like what you're saying.
If anything, it's a safety net.
Exactly.
For him, something happens and he becomes unemployed. Well, if he's got that VA disability, he's still got an income coming in.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
You know, in my case, I'm an older veteran. I'm looking to retire.
Sure.
That just supplements my retirement income.
Okay.
Sure.
You know, it's all about educating.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, we can educate till we're blue in the face. If they decide, hey, this isn't what I want to do, you've been educated.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
exactly right.
I think some of them may be afraid of attachment to the system, you know, and some of the things that they may have to do. They're supposing, they don't really know because they
No.
haven't really talked to anybody.
Well, I think if you're in the VA system and you if you will play their game, they won't. I mean, I've had some health issues the last 2 years, especially. I haven't paid nothing, and I've went to some of the best doctors, probably in the tri-state, because it's the VA's job to see that you get that health care. I didn't know all that stuff was available until I got started talking to some of the doctors at the VA, and they said, you know, you've got stuff going on that you should need checked out.
Right.
You can't, and they can't do that at the VA. They don't. They're not. They just can't do that. So. It's just a good thing if you get into that system and if you play by the rules and do what they want you to do.
Yeah.
On
And the
referrals
good thing
and
is
stuff.
that they're connected to other entities in and around the community.
Sure.
So whatever is not available right there, I mean, they've got resources, man, just unending in my opinion.
Yeah.
Some of the experiences that I've had.
We've had, just last week, we had a veteran in the office, and this veteran went to basic training, had an injury. That injury ended up putting her out of the Army, but she served. She's never filed for a disability.
Wow.
And the other thing is, this veteran's wanting to go to school. Well, if she goes and files, and she gets a high enough disability rating, VA Voc Rehab can pay for her to go to school.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
So
Amazing.
I'm hoping, this veteran told me they were going to get a hold of Ron. I hope that veteran has gotten a hold of Ron.
Yeah. That's another thing. We've got two service officers that are very proactive
Very, yeah.
in trying to get the job
Diligent
done. And they
fellas,
just,
yeah.
to me, boy, they're just always there. They're outstanding
Right.
when it comes to getting all that stuff through. Paperwork especially is just horrendous anyway. But
And it's not a real long process. I think the longest in the claims I've filed, maybe 30 minutes with Ron. And I'm out the door.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have peace of mind that it's done correctly. With the VA's website, you can go right in there and look and see where they're at with your claim
Right,
Yeah.
right.
through all 5 steps.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's good.
Those guys are very resourceful. My wife's brother was a veteran, and he's in Colorado, and he's in a nursing home. And he had not had any affiliation with VA whatsoever. And Ron went into that computer and did his thing, and now we're looking at the possibility of bringing that brother here to stay, to live. You know? So I mean, he just, they treat you like you're somebody, and they love their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're, well, hopefully they'll be there for a while.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and the
it's
connection with you, see,
Yeah.
we got this connection with them and with you, Brian. You know, you're very assertive and all, and in what you do, your job, and with you and them, I don't see how you can lose.
Well, we do a lot.
Can't
We
lose.
do a lot of referring back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, just last week I got
can
2
see that.
referrals from that office. So it's kind of a hand-in-hand thing. You know, I look at it this way: if the veteran's looking for help finding employment, I'm the person to see.
Right.
If they have questions about their benefits, like I said earlier, I'm dangerous. I know a little bit, but I'm not the subject matter expert. hello, Ron. Hello, buddy.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and they're very proactive in helping people. That's really a good thing. It boils down to, because every veteran that I run into at our place, and we run into quite a few anymore, I always ask them where are they at with benefits, where are they at with their health care, and I've got brochures to say, here, call this guy. Whether they do that, of course, I don't really know. I don't know how that connection's ever made. But if it wasn't for you guys, the veteran would not understand all these benefits. If you weren't proactive in what you do and almost insertive, or whatever you want to use, if you don't do that, most veterans don't pay any attention. They don't, it's like, are you listening to what I'm telling you?
Hey, we only got a couple minutes.
Oh,
Is there one thing that you wanted to get across that we didn't touch on today?
Nope,
Right.
we covered it. I wanted
That's
to talk,
amazing.
I wanted to talk about the resource fair. I wanted to talk about, what I can do to help veterans, and wanted to talk about getting people proactive and filing for disability.
Yeah.
We covered all three.
We covered all three.
Well, you do a good job, man.
Yeah,
I mean, nobody
Thank
probably
you.
tells you that, but we know I know just by being out in the community
Can we
quite a bit.
announce the dates
Yeah.
of the fair? September 26th from 1 to 4. And that's the First Bank Center, Wayne County Fairgrounds.
Yep.
Right? And so you out there, you're looking for a job, family member, you're watching this and you know a veteran is looking for a job, you need to tell he or she about this and come on out and get some service.
When will you have the brochures available?
The flyers are going to the printer hopefully this week.
Okay.
And then now these, you can make all the copies you want and put them out.
Okay.
Color copies are hard for these because we don't have that capacity in the office.
Yeah.
But I'll have, nice size posters that will go to veteran service organizations, post offices, things like where the most traffic is.
Yeah.
Okay.
The colored ones are really nice.
It's nice when we have them.
We got the new Space Force on here too.
Sure do.
That's everybody's got Space Force.
Okay, we got to go,
Okay,
guys.
so- Thanks for watching today.
Yeah, folks, thanks for watching. And Brian, we thank you for coming again.
Thanks for having me again.
And we'll have you again.
Yeah.
Because he's always got something going on, all right? So we thank you, folks. Thanks for
Thank you.
watching. Proudly we serve.
Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan are honored to partner with Proudly We Served, as well as the continued support of our local active and retired military veterans across eastern Indiana.